Hey, what is up, everybody? So I want to go over a clip that came out earlier today from Adam Schefter. He went on to the Pat McAfee show and gave what he believes would be the most logical game for Jordan Love to come back to. If you guys are new to the channel, you haven't subscribed, I put out Packers content nearly every single day, breaking down news, all that kind of stuff. So make sure if you haven't already, turn on the post notifications. And I also have been sharing some All 22 film on Twitter. You can follow me at LukeBeller3. Earlier today, I was watching some and sharing some clips from different players I found interesting. So if you're into that, feel free to follow me on Twitter. So first off, let me show you this clip that came out earlier today on the Pat McAfee show, as I already shared with you. And it's Adam Schefter giving his thoughts here.
Let's go to Jordan Love now. Obviously, that's on Friday, and we heard all the reports, and it's 5 seconds left in the game. That's a bummer. Obviously, it's a bummer. 4 to 6 weeks is the projections here with the sprained MCL, or is this still the information we have on this particular Overreaction Monday?
I think it's going to be less. I think it's going to be closer to 3 to 4 weeks, and it depends on how long it's going to take him here. They'll see how he recovers, but I think the worst case was averted. Like, it could have been bad. You see him go down. Jalen Carter wraps up his leg on the left side, you see, and he goes down, and it was a bad look, but the test showed sprained MCL. That's probably 3 to 4 weeks. He's going to push to come back. If you look at the schedule, I think in 3 or 4 weeks, they play the Vikings at home. And again, we'll see how he recovers here, but that would be, I would think, a logical timeline and a logical spot for him to try to come back. And
all right, so that is Schefter, what Schefter said. He believes that the Vikings game, which is in 3 weeks, it's on September 29th, is what he believes is the most logical game for Jordan Love to come back. And on Saturday, when I was sharing the different reports that had come out, there were a few different ones spanning from 3 to 6 weeks, but it seemed like it would be closer to the 3-week timeline with that MCL injury. And now Schefter again says today he believes it'll be more likely 3 or 4 weeks, but he thinks the Vikings game could be the most logical, which honestly to me, I think that is great news given the current situation here for the Packers, because if he were to actually start in the Vikings game, that would mean he would only miss 2 games, one next Sunday against the Colts, and then one the following Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. And if after all of this, the scare on Friday night when I was worried, going to sleep that night, I was thinking to myself, have we really been waiting all season long, all off season long, to see this Packers team that we really think, lots of people think, I won't speak for you, but I think I've seen lots of other people believe that this is a very competitive team that I think has Super Bowl aspirations based on what we saw last season. And to see what happened the first night when Jordan Love went down, looked like he was in pain. I was pretty worried that he had maybe torn his ACL with the way his knee popped out, and luckily that was not the case. And so if he were to show up against the Vikings, I think that most of us Packers fans would be very, very happy with that. The thing to consider, though, is that this Packers organization over the years, I would say, has been pretty conservative when it comes to bringing players back. I think that they have been maybe more slow to bring certain guys back from injuries than some other teams would, just because they don't want guys to come in and re-aggravate injuries. And especially when you look at Jordan Love, the fact that the organization just made him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL at $55 million per year, you would think that you would be a little slow to bring him back if he's not fully ready. Of course, you want Jordan Love back as soon as possible because the Packers and the success they have this season mostly has to do with Jordan Love being healthy and being the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. But if we come into that game against the Vikings leading up to that Sunday, and they think that it would be better off in the long run if Jordan Love sits out one more week, I think that is definitely the wise move. You do not want to bring him back too soon and have him re-aggravate the injury, and I think the Packers could be slow in that regard. And so it really comes down to his recovery, and so you can't fully predict right now, even the people and the doctors who know exactly what his injury is, you can't fully know for a fact how he's going to be in 3 weeks. You could probably have a good idea for where he should be at that time, and based on whatever information Adam Schefter has, he thinks that Vikings game could be a game where Love comes back. So if that were to be the case, I would be super excited. I was sort of thinking in my mind, once I saw the different reports come out, that I was sort of at least thinking 3 games he would miss. And when you look at the next 3 games, Colts, Titans, Vikings, I do think those are winnable games without Jordan Love. The biggest factor in these games comes down to the biggest unknown right now on this Packers team, which is how good is Malik Willis and how good will Malik Willis be in this Packers offense. There is 100% a reason that Brian Gutekunst made the move to trade for Malik Willis. I think it had to one part do with the fact that he didn't trust Clifford and Michael Pratt to be the backup to Jordan Love, because if that had been the case, then they would not have made the trade. Either Clifford or Michael Pratt would be the Packers' backup quarterback. And so they saw something in Malik Willis that they liked. And one thing I was debating after this game, thinking about Malik Willis, is, when the Packers traded for Malik Willis, were they, clearly you don't expect an injury to happen to your starting quarterback. It's a possibility. But were they thinking that, maybe throughout the season they could develop him behind Jordan Love, and maybe yet next year they could be fully confident in him to come in and be a backup if necessary? Was it sort of a long-term plan to develop him? Or do they see him as a quarterback who is ready to come in and be good enough to keep this Packers team afloat? I don't know what the Packers think right now. And based on everything that has happened, considering that, Malik Willis is a quarterback here, and the fact that he was the backup on Friday night, it was not Sean Clifford. There was debate maybe the Packers would bring Clifford up to be the backup because he has more experience and more time in this Packers offense. That was not the case. It was Malik Willis. So I do not see Sean Clifford starting over Malik Willis. It's possible, I guess, but I don't see why they would have not had Clifford as a backup last week if Malik Willis wasn't ready. You would have thought they would have done it last week and not, and not done what they did. So I assume it's going to be Malik Willis, and that's where the biggest unknown is, because we've seen him a little bit in his career here in the NFL with the Titans, playing a few games. Wasn't really good his rookie year. Threw 3 interceptions, 0 touchdowns, a couple hundred yards. Last year, barely played, had 74 passing yards. And so we just don't really know how much he's developed behind the scenes. He looked really good in the preseason, but we've seen other quarterbacks this past year be really good in the preseason. Guys like Bo Nix looked really, really bad yesterday. Caleb Williams had some nice plays in the preseason, but he looked really bad yesterday. Lots of these rookie quarterbacks who had some good play in the preseason did not look good. So just because Malik Willis played well in the preseason, it does not mean it's going to translate to the NFL or to the regular season NFL games. It could. It's possible. That's just the unknown with Malik Willis, and I think why I don't know what's going to happen these next couple games. And it's going to be very crucial for this Packers defense to bounce back, play a lot better than they played against the Eagles if they want to have a chance in these games. If Malik Willis is great, awesome. The defense doesn't have to do as much. But if Willis comes out here, is making bad reads, bad decisions, then it's going to be that much more important for this Packers defense to come through and get the job done to give the Packers any kind of hope in these next few weeks with Jordan Love out. Because, going into this season, I predicted the Packers to win the NFC North over the Lions. I predicted the Packers to be 12-5 versus the Lions being 11-6. But if Love misses 2-3 games, it's going to be really tough to compete with the Lions based on how good they are. And so there's a big unknown here, and we'll keep an eye on it and really see how long it takes Jordan Love to recover and when he'll be ready to go back out here whenever he is fully recovered and ready to go. But if you guys want more Packers content, make sure you subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter at LukeBeller3, and I'll see you guys next time.